join me in warmly welcoming Professor Sarath Kotagama to deliver the keynote address.
Thank you. Good afternoon to all of you. Sorry if I don't sound right, because I am not right. I have a problem with my throat and been suffering some pollution event. 29th, 30th, 31st of January, I was completely knocked off at Putlam because of the Indian flu, and I am still suffering as a result. This is what happens when the air is not right, when you need it to be right. Anyway, thank you for inviting me to give the keynote address, or something that is not part really fully of what we are doing here, but contributing to it. It takes me back to 1969-70 actually, when for the first time in the world, initiated by a senator from US, Gaylord Nelson, who said we should stand up for the environment. And we know it has never been done since. It has been the largest ever gathering for the environment that is on record yet. More than 10 million people across the world stood up for the environment. 22nd of April 1970. Because it was sponsored by the United States, we also had the opportunity in this country to stand in front of the US Embassy and shout about the environment. That was the only event that happened in Sri Lanka. So it was very interesting at that time. But what led from there is where we are today. Somebody felt that there was a need, that the development process that was happening was not going in the right direction, and therefore it needed to be changed into the right direction. Ever since, we know numerous organizations came in, numerous developments for the environment has evolved. And if we ask ourselves, have we done better than what we were? I would say yes and no. Because today, if you're looking at the politics of the world, you're looking at the most powerful country in the world who says there is no issue. I don't have to name the country, you all know that. A country which withdraws from the primary problem that this whole world is facing now, which is climate change. Everything that was with climate change, the country has withdrawn. Even $30 billion of research funding for university systems. So where are we then? Are we progressing or are we regressing? So the commitment to enable ourselves to achieve the final objective of what was just mentioned for the future, not maybe for us. We are at the tail end. Group captain said she's 71, I am 75. Right? We are at the tail end. We have nothing but to look backwards, because there's nothing to look forward. You know, it's very interesting in your life. At one time you will be all looking forward, and when you pass your 60s and 40s, there's nothing to look forward because you know where you are going. It's inevitable. It's just that you don't want to go there with a bit of a toss and a problem, but you know where you're going. But what do you do then? You look back. You talk about what we were, what we did, how was it. I just started that. I went back 1970. But that is the interesting part of what we are doing today. Why did we have to come to a point that we need to convince somebody else that to be environmental friendly, you must be feeling that you are doing something better? In a sense, it is because we know that they are not doing good. They are all doing harm. Until and unless we agree that as individuals, we are not the best on this planet compared to what we were 12,000 years ago. That is the difference. 12,000 years ago and beyond to 2.5 million years back, we were part of the planet. But when we left that cave And when we came to the open, so my good friend, architect Jayantha, are partly to blame. They created structures for us so that we could stay in the open without getting affected by the norms of nature. Otherwise, it was all the caves that provided us it, and that was part of nature. There was nothing. The only thing we may have done was cut a kataram or whatever it is to prevent the water from sleeping inside. But structurally, we did very little. We lived like any other organism on this planet. That transition make everything change today. But we are still not reflecting on it and asking ourselves, can't we go back? Not to stay in the caves, but the lifestyle, so that you become one and the same in the planet. And that is the challenge that we have. To do that, we need to entice, we need to enable the people to do something. So, sorry sir, I might sound a little sarcastic when I say these things, but when we forget that there is only two things that makes us do what we are doing. Either it's a gift or it's a punishment. That's all. No animal, including human, will respond to nature, respond to our action, to initiate to do something, if not for a gift or if not for a punishment. That is animals, not plants. We forget this in our education. Our very simple education, we forget that to get something done, you must either gift or you have to punish. That's all. Any animal. Look at the dogs when they are doing with their puppies. Look at the lions when they are living with the lionesses and the babies. Look at even a reptile, an insect. They all do this. So we humans think that we are not animals. That is the problem. So therefore, we assume that we have superiority on this planet. And therefore, we can do whatever we want on this planet. That is how, since 1948, we started progressing forward. That is why in 1970, we realized there is something that is not right. And that is why today, we have no choices. What is the temperature predicted? 22,000 to 2,000, 7 degrees centigrade increment. This is all science. If we believe in science and if we know that we have come here because of science, then we have to understand that we are heading for disaster. 7 degrees more than what it is today. Already we are suffering with just Nuwara 1.2 degrees, Kurunegala 2 degrees, just next door. That's their statistics, not mine. The Meteorology Department of Sri Lanka fortunately has records for over 100 years, and that's what they are telling us. The Nuwara daily temperature has gone up by 1.5 degrees centigrade. Kurunegala night temperatures have gone up by 2 degrees centigrade. Anybody will understand that the temperatures has gone up. Not just only the temperature, but addition to it, we have put into the atmosphere so much of dust and pollution that the humidity with it is making our lives miserable. So when I talk with the Greenville people, I ask this question all the time. Why are you all designing air conditioners beyond the 3rd floor? Where is your design concept? Because we want, in this country, comfort temperature 15, 17, not 23, 27. So as long as we are doing that kind of thinking, the issues are going to be there. So to resolve those issues, we have to use these two opportunities of how we respond to anything that we learn. Punishment, gift. So the schemes that we are producing here is a gift if you do well, a punishment if you don't do well. So which one do you want to follow? You don't like to be punished, but you always like to be gifted. So standards are that, gifts to do better. Recognition makes you a better person. It elevates you when you walk on the road. Ah, he's that. Look at him. He's doing that. But if he was the other way around, you will press him down. So certifications is one of the tricks of gifts. Do something right. We recognize you as a society. We recognize you as a whole, as somebody who is doing the right thing for the world or for the society of that time. So we started with the big people because they were the bigger polluters, the big companies. We wanted them to come in line with the environmental guidelines. So we wanted them to be recognized first, but now we come with the smaller people, which is in a real sense bigger than the big companies, because 75% small and medium is the lifeline of the country. If they are going to do bad, then obviously it's not going to help us. So how are we going to enable it? Give them the gift of pride. Who doesn't like to be said, you're nice? That's why the industry is so good, no? To make us all beautiful. Second biggest industry now. So these are all strategies that have evolved to make us be better into the future, because we have come to recognize, despite some not, that we have made a mess out of our lives in this environment, in this planet to date. You can take anything and you will see that every one of the actions that we have done has been a problem at the end of the day. When the health check for this planet was done in year 2000 by Kofi Annan, Secretary General, getting over 900 top scientists of the world and looking at over 38 indicators, and when the results came out halfway through in 2003, the total thing came out in 2005, it was already a clear picture that none of the indicators were positive for the planet. None of the indicators were positive for the planet. In simple terms, again, group captain said is no cholesterol, no sugar. Now, how do you know whether you have cholesterol or how do you know whether you have sugar? You have to get a test done. No? So when you do the test only, it tells you you have sugar, you have cholesterol, you have this, that and the other. So that is what happened to the planet. Until that test was done in year 2000 by Kofi Annan, we all felt we were sleeping nicely, everything was moving well and all that. You can see it's already there. So that was a turning point, in a way, that the planet was sick beyond repair in some situations. How to bring it back was the challenge that we have been trying to achieve ever since. Not 1972, but actually from 2002, and then 12, and now we have not been able to even get it organized after 2012. A real environmental meeting has not been feasible because of various issues that came around, all because of the environment not being friendly with us. So the initiative for the larger group of persons who are trying to give us the benefit of utilizing the environment to be done in the right way through a gift, a recognition, a certification is all that we are doing today. So the Green Building Council, the Planet Protectors, I should thank Professor Paul Manson, who was very strong and saying yes, we should do this, and did most of the nitty-gritty because the language matters a little bit. But as I just said, when I was given the document, this must get into the local language. Otherwise, it means nothing. So we will do that because it has to, because SMEs are very much in the local language, not with the big one. The big people will talk the big language, fine. But the majority of us at the bottom speak the local language, and they must understand that. So it's important that we realize what we have done. We have done something, again to repeat myself, to stimulate those who are doing something to provide benefits to the large majority of the people through development has to fall in line with what we call today sustainable development. Flipping through the pages, I saw that we are still very, very far away. Sorry, planet protectors. Yeah, the model is old. Trying to draw three people together and get them to agree. Can you ever do that? It has never happened yet. That is why we are in a mess today. And we resolved this in 2002. We said sustainability model must be inclusive and not draw exclusive people together. Do you know the difference? If you look at the book, you will see it's still the old model. So sometimes when I say these things, people don't like it. But sorry, I keep myself updated all the time. I have a very bad habit. I don't sleep without looking at the internet every night. Just what is happening in the world, that is all I want to know. And there, what did I know 2 days ago? Plants are attracting microplastic, absorbing microplastic. Now I didn't know that till 2 days ago. This is absorbing microplastic. So as I used to say, plasticizing ourselves is one thing. You know, plasticizing ourselves is one thing. Big advantage. You realize the advantage? I told you we are looking forward, no? You have to save the forests. So if your body is plasticized, you don't need the timber, no? It will do better, no? It will away faster. It will burn faster. Right? You don't need to embalm. You're already embalmed. Right? So now the plants are also getting embalmed. They will stay forever now. Because they are getting plasticized. Just imagine what we are talking. Right? I put it in this way so that at least it will get into our heads and realize what are we doing? When are we ever going to get our children to understand that what we have done, not they, what we have done? Please remember that. It's what we have done that is causing the mess today. Not what they are going to do. We are getting them to do it. We need to make them change. We need to make it a difference. And for that, we need to entice them. We need to trap them in with this pride of the head. I am a certified person. So sometimes group captain also will not like. Every morning I walk past the headquarters of the forces. And I always see a lot of badges all over. So one day because that person had nothing on his body but all badges. I was so much intrigued. I said, "Podak in there. Oh, manado okkomo idinne. On the road. Manado okkomo idinne." So make went on for about 10 minutes. From here to here to here, all badges. Why? Because the pride. We like to be recognized. Anywhere, any place, anytime. Here is a method which was given to us in the business fraternity. We need to put it into their heads. Be happy to be certified. Be happy to put that badge in your house or in your business. It makes a difference. People recognize it. We animals, humans, definitely like it. You may want to say it, suppress it. අපේ ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේලා නම් කියයි බුදුහාමුදුරු කිව්වේ වෙන දෙයක් කියලා. නමුත් බුදුහාමුදුරු කිව්වෙත් ඒක මද ප්‍රමාණයටනේ. නේ හාමුදුරනේ. නැති කරන්න බෑනේ ඕක. නැති කරන්න ඕනකම තිබ්බත් නැති කරන්න බෑ ලේසි. නමුත් ඒක ඕනේ. දැන් ඒකනේ මම දැන් මේ හාමුදුරුලා මෙතන ඉන්නවා මම දන්නා මම මේක කියනකොට සමහර අය අකමැති. බුදුහාමුදුරුවෝ ආත්මාර්ථකාමී නොවනවා නම් බුදු වෙනවද? පරම්පරා කීයද? අනාත්මීය වෙන්න නම් ආත්මාර්ථකාමී වෙන්න ඕන එක තැනකට ආව. To be selfless, you have to be selfish, at least at some point. That is important. The certification is a selfish attainment for a selfless person for the future. We must not be afraid to say these things. Because we are often withdrawing to say these things, we don't actually get to the heart of the person. We don't get to the heart of the child. We don't get to the heart of the youth. The youth needs to be assertive. They need to be saying, we are here. Not to say, you are there. You are here. We have examples for this in this country, when how the Youth Council came to be and how it evolved. But if you don't do that, they will always be behind arrogant. See what is happening across the world. Because they are not important. No, they are more important than we. Because they are the people of the custodians, the people who will take it forward. So we made the mistakes. Let them recognize you can rectify it and go forward. We will help you to change. We have to change. So when we talk about the environment, my last point here is that everybody thinks Sarla kiyana dene. Unka Sarla neveyi kiyanne. Ogollo karana de. Not what we are saying, it is what you are doing that matters more. We have to transform, we have to change. But as we all know, it's not easy to change when you have become what you are. But it is easy to change when you have not become what you are. And that is the youth into the future. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to share some thoughts. More importantly, planet protectors, I don't know how I got drawn into it, but I got drawn into it. I am very controversial, I don't deny that, but I believe it is the only way to get something across so that we know to change. If not, we will always feel this is right, this is good, this is okay, this we can manage. No, sometimes punishment is needed. We are forgetting that we are animal human. Please remember that. If you ever think you were never punished in your life, something is wrong with you. You have always been punished somewhere in your life, and if you reflect back, you will see that made the difference. But at the same time, gift also makes a difference. Recognition makes a difference. Why must we recognize somebody? Because we all appreciate that difference. So here is a chance. So the planet protectors along with the Green Building Council, GAP, SME people will have to come, but I would like to appeal to the minister, sir. Beyond this, there is this need. People can do a lot of things. They can talk about trying to do a lot of things. But unfortunately, the global structure is such that there is something called governance. Why did we have to have ESG? Why did we have to have governance? Environment, social governance. Because there is something called governance. And in that governance system, there is a social structure. And in it, whether we like it or not, there is politics. So the political governance has to be strong to enable the social system to function, to become more environmental friendly. So we are looking forward, and we look always to, doesn't matter the color, breed and color things, but we have to always remember that. My final point, because this came up 2 days ago, when are we ever going to be effecting producer responsible action? Not user responsible action. For 30, 40 years we have been talking user responsible action. Why I say this is because of the very fact of polythene. When is the producer going to be responsible for the action? You understand what I'm saying? That producer must also take the responsibility for making us do something which we shouldn't be doing. It is convenience for the producer, but he doesn't take the responsibility to resolve the problem. He leaves it to us. So if it leaves to us, the producer will go zero because he doesn't have a business. But we now need to think back because this was approved last year. In December last year, it was approved. But yet we have taken it a long time to realize that the producer responsibility agreements need to get more effective with the respect to the environment. Again, the certification is one of that. If you read through the lines, it is not there. Because we are still following what was, not what is, to the future. Every producer must take the responsibility to ensure that the product is responsibility taken away from the environment consequence. So in a very simple thing, I told one guy, this water bottle, your name is there. Don't tell me to do something about the bottle. You have to do something because your name is on the water bottle. You are the producer. You are making it from the bottle for me, through the bottle for me. So you are the producer. You take the responsibility of what happens when I finish drinking the water. Don't tell me to do something with the bottle. This is a simple answer of the plastics. It's a simple answer for many things that we do in nature. In the certification, also it has to come. It has not yet come fully into the certification schemes, but it has to come. If you are going to use anything, you have to take the responsibility to make sure that you look after the environment problem and don't say it is somebody else's. Producer responsibility agreements are necessary today. This is how we are going step by step. Not easy, difficult because we know it is not the norm, but we need to go there. So thank you very much again. New thoughts are evolving all the time. We are in for a lot of problems, I am telling you. After being with the environment for almost 70 years, 70 plus years, shouting, do something, change this, change that, all of this. We are still not there, but it's getting worse. But let's commit ourselves to not leave behind. Because as I said, we are not looking back now, no? We are all looking forward. No, we are looking backwards. So let's not leave behind what we knew was not right. Thank you very much.